Hello, my name is Ahmad, and the speech that I have chosen is Letters from a Birmingham Jail. It carries a sense of relevance today when it comes to police brutality and the treatment of black people. But I also feel that it shows us all the anger that Dr. King held when he wrote this particular letter or speech. This letter shows us that Dr. King wasn't as docile and as nonviolent as we think he was when it pertains to how he felt. He was able to call out the naysayers and call out the doubters who felt as though that he was leading his people into a burning house, quoting Dr. King. So that's the reason why I chose Letter from a Birmingham Jail. It's a clear vision through Dr. King's words on why he's doing the things that he did and how he felt about those that counted him out and went against what he was trying to do when it comes to freedom. Thank you. Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The urge for freedom will eventually come. This is what has happened to black people, like me. Something within has reminded me of my birthright of freedom. Something without has reminded me that I can gain it. Black people have many pent-up resentments and frustrations. I have to get them out. So let me march sometime. Let me have prayer pilgrimages to the city hall. Understand why we must have sit-ins and freedom rides. If our repressed emotions do not come out in these nonviolent ways, they will come out in other expressions of violence. But I have tried to say that this normal and healthy discontent can be channeled through the creative outlet of nonviolent direct action. Now this approach is being dismissed as extremist. I must admit that I was initially disappointed in being so categorized. You warmly commended the police force for keeping order and preventing violence. I don't believe you would so quickly commend the policemen if you would observe their ugly and inhumane treatment of black people here in the city jail. If you will watch them push and curse old black women and young black girls. If you would see them slap and kick old black men and young boys. If you would observe them as they did on 2 occasions, refusing to give us food because we wanted to sing our grace together. I'm sorry that I can't praise you and your support for the police department.
Hi, my name is Ziya, and I am a 9-year-old MC, and I live in Washington, D.C. I'm going to recite a part of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, and I'm going to add some dreams and wishes of my own. I wish for a brighter day, wishing the sun can shine forever. I wish that the darkness would stay away. I wish the whole world can kneel and pray. These are my wishes for today. I wish they can open some jail gates. Wish that we can formulate from one plate. This wish is great. Wish for love and wish for love only and stop the hate. Wishing I could change the foul thoughts. Wishing some didn't eat the pork. I wish the blind can see and a cripple walk. I wish that animals could talk. Wish falling saw somehow get caught. Wish for fighting for freedom could get fought. Wish the ignorant could get taught. Wish the slaves wasn't brought. Wishing my government to abort was just a cure for AIDS, for COVID-19. I wish for days, wishing I was invincible. 'Cause a gun strays, wishing my scriptures can help you to make a change. My queens wishing the same, wishing to ease this pain. I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women like me, my mom, and grandmothers are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons and daughters of former slaves and the sons and daughters of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood and sisterhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. And in today's world, that state could be considered one of many. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. It is the year 2021, and since Martin Luther King was not able to see his dreams come true, I still have the same dreams too.
My name is Mark, and the excerpt I'm about to read for you is from Martin Luther King's mountaintop speech. I chose this bit because the rebellious nature of the words, coupled with the parallels I found between the struggles the words spoke of, pertaining to protesting for equality and the right to live, and the Black Lives Matter protests against injustice and police brutality in 2020, stood out to me. We aren't going to let any mace stop us. We are masters in our nonviolent movement in disarming police forces. They do not know what to do. I've seen them so often. I remember in Birmingham, Alabama, when we were in that majestic struggle there. We would move out of the 16th Street Baptist Church day after day. By the hundreds, we would move out, and Bull Connor would tell them to send the dogs forth, and they did come. But we just went before them, singing, "Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around." Bull Connor next would say, "Turn the fire hoses on." And as I said to you the other night, Bull Connor didn't know history. He knew a kind of physics that somehow didn't relate to the trans physics that we knew about. And that was the fact that there was a certain kind of fire that no water could put out. And we went before the fire hoses. We had known water. If we were Baptists or some other denominations, we had been immersed. If we were Methodists or some others, we had been sprinkled. But we knew water, and that couldn't stop us.
Hi, I'm Isabella. These are the things I want for the world. I want people to be happy. I want there to be no more homelessness. I want the places where slavery is okay to abolish slavery. I want everybody to be vaccinated too. I am reading from Dr. Martin Luther King's speech, The Drum Major. A drum major can mean boosting your ego by getting attention, but you can change that by helping somebody out and being a drum major that makes a difference. Dr. King's speech has made me think about my place in the world. It's made me think that I should spend less time trying to make videos on TikTok. Instead, I should try helping out in the world, even if nobody on YouTube knows. If any of you are around when I have to meet my day, I don't want a long funeral. And if you get somebody to deliver the eulogy, tell them not to talk too long. And every now and then, I wonder what I want them to say. Tell them not to mention that I have a Nobel Peace Prize. That isn't important. Tell them not to mention that I have 300 or 400 other awards. That's not important. Tell them not to mention where I went to school. I'd like for somebody to mention that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to give his life serving others. I'd like for somebody to say that day that Martin Luther King Jr. tried to love somebody. I want you to say that day that I tried to be right on the war question. I want you to say that day I tried to feed those who were hungry. And I want you to be able to say that day that I did try in my life to clothe those who were naked. I want you to say that on that day that I did try in my life to visit those who were in prison. I want you to say that I tried to love and serve humanity. Yes, if you want to say that I was a drum major, say I was a drum major for justice. Say I was a drum major for peace. I was a drum major for righteousness. And all of those other shallow things will not matter. I won't have any money to leave behind. I don't have the fine and luxurious things of life to leave behind. But I just want to leave a committed life behind. And that's all I wanted to say. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian not, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrought, if I can spread the message as the Master taught, my living will not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, show somebody he's traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian not, if I can bring salvation to a world once wrong, and spread the message as the Master taught, living will not be in vain.
A true revolution will soon cause us to question the fairness and justice of our present and past policies. See, we have a choice today: nonviolent coexistence or violent cohabitation. We must move past the indecision to action and find new ways to speak on justice and peace in this developing world. A world that borders our doors. See, if we don't, we will be dragged down this long, dark, shameful corridor reserved for the times of people who possess power without compassion, and might without morality, and strength without sight. See, you ask the question, aren't you a civil rights leader? And therefore, this answer comes. In 1957, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference formed its motto to save the soul of America. They were convinced that they could not limit their vision by the certain rights allowed to black people, but stand firm in their conviction that America would never be saved until all the descendants of the slaves were let go from their shackles that we wear today. If we didn't, things like the Black Lives Matter movement would not exist. Names like Trayvon Martin and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, we would not know them as we do. In a way, we are agreeing with Langston Hughes, the Black Bard of Harlem, when he says, "Oh yes, I say it plain, America was never America to me. But I say this oath, hoping that one day America will be." Even J. Cole says, "All I want to do is take the chains off. All I want to do is be free. All I want to do is take the chains off, and all I want to do is be me." See, we can no longer afford to worship a God of hate or bow before the altar of retaliation. The oceans of history have been made turbulent by the ever-rising tides of hate. History has been cultured by the wretched individuals of nations pursuing a self-defeating path. Arnold Toynbee says, "Love is the ultimate force that makes the saving choice between life and good versus the damning choice of death and evil." Therefore, the first hope in our inventory must be the hope that love will have the last word. Every nation is going to have to develop this overriding loyalty to mankind in order to preserve their individual societies. I'm Nova, and what you just heard was a revised version of Dr. King's sermon, Beyond Vietnam. I never mentioned Vietnam because that war has come and gone, but the words still reign true today. I use this as a call to everybody to start fighting for your communities, to start fighting for the things you believe in, to fight for one another, and to fight for yourself, until every individual feels like one unit of this thing we call mankind. Let's redefine the term separate but equal.